What's the biggest disadvantage of being a man? I have noodle arms, and being the only dude around the office, I'm expected to lift heavy shit while buff-ass Angela Ducking goes to the gym daily and can lift 5x what I can isn't ever asked. I didn't realize how true that was until I, 32/F, got mistaken for a guy in a train, which I understand. Nothing about me says I am able to lift heavy things. But I was asked by a woman to help put her bag in one of the top storage thingies. I didn't even realize what was happening until I got closer and helped her. At which point she realized her mistake and looked pretty uncomfortable. Had she asked me because I looked strong, regardless of gender, no need to feel uncomfortable. If you don't have a girlfriend, you can literally not get touched by any human being for months. Men need hugs too. Baldness. Some men can make it work for them, but most can't. One of my biggest worries in life is when the time comes to chop off what remains of my rapidly vanishing hair. It's been longer than my shoulders for probably 9/10ths of my life, and brave the shave. The end result is going to look like Mr. Potato Head coming out of a mosh pit. When something falls on your balls. I don't know what the duck I did, but somehow I whipped myself in the nuts with my towel after getting out of the shower today. It sucks being the initiator in talking to girls, especially with social anxiety. Oh god, yes. I genuinely feel everyone wants me to duck off and die all the time anyway. And my social obliviousness has made women awkward in the past when that's the last thing I wanted to do. I'm terrified of doing that again. And women won't make the first move. Well, sure, for other reasons too, like my face, so I'm basically doomed. Don't get as much emotional support from others in comparison to women. It's usually seen as weak. I've read that men have fewer social connections and often just rely on their so for emotional support. If they don't have and so, they're basically on their own. As a woman, I had never thought about that. But when I read that, I looked around and found that to be pretty much the case among the men I knew. It seems to really put guys at risk for isolation and depression. Kids my son's age seem to be good at expressing themselves, and my son talks to his friends on the phone all the time. So I hope it's changing. But of course I don't know if it is. Those random, involuntary erections that happen at the wrong time or place. Ah yes. Or the infamous funeral boner, also known as morning wood. All these humble, beautiful and passionate posts. All I was going to say was when our dong and nuts stick together on a hot day. From when I was younger. When your dong finally goes down getting a hair stuck in there. Less people take you seriously when you say that you're a victim of sexual assault. Or victim of anything. I've been in a shooting. Mugged. Gang stomped for trying to give first aid to someone. Drugged with, I'm assuming, the intent of sexual assault. And almost abducted. When I reveal any of these to people outside my inner circle, it's laughed at like I'm telling a joke or something. Going with your child to the playground and survive the stare downs of all of the Karens. Went to a park with my kid that was near some houses. There were couple 12-year-old something girls there. Within 2 minutes a couple women walked out one of the homes. Came over. And just stood there and watched for 20 minutes. Balls are like that 2-meter hole in a Death Star. Once you hit there, the whole man will be destroyed. Damn. Now I'm wondering why the Sith didn't just force crush the Jedi in the balls. Why bother with all the lightsaber nonsense when you could drop them with a thought? Being expected to keep your emotions to yourself. I'm a ducking wreck right now. But I don't want to express it too often because I'll be a burden. Edit. Autocorrect change duck to duck. You're not a burden. The people who love you probably really want to be there to support you. For sure, being stereotyped or held accountable for certain things that aren't even your fault. Rather, it's simply a matter of being a guy that makes you a certain way in society's eyes. Having expected first impressions and mistakes blows. External dong. As opposed to an internal one. Permanent invisibility. No. Not the cool kind. It's the nobody ever calls or texts you unless they want you to help them move, so your Saturdays are always carrying really heavy shit and you go back home alone and pick up a 6-pack of beer, and still Saturday night nobody calls or texts, so you reach out and nobody responds, so then you order pizza and break out the whiskey and finish that bottle and the 6-pack and contemplate killing yourself since all you do is work and sleep, but before you do you finish the pizza and fall asleep and wake up Sunday morning, then hate yourself for an entire day. Kind of invisibility. Edit. I'm okay folks. Seriously, thanks for asking. I moved across the country for a healthier life. Above post was a dark time in my recent life, but things are looking better now. My life summed up. No one wants me, they only need me. Having your expendability be socially expected. War. Sinking ships, proverbial and otherwise. Financial and mental assistance. We are expected to fight, provide, and die for society. Edit to fix or to correct. I think you meant expendability. I thought you meant that it's just expected that men will get fat, like a dad bod thing. It was funny. Until I figured out what you really meant. And now it's just sad. No being able to get help when going through depression and having to deal with it alone. Edit. Thanks for the upvotes. For those who are going through the same thing, stay strong, and for those who are saying there's no shame in getting help and I should just get help, well, I'm not a fan of public places. I really don't like being around strangers. Better, and getting help isn't that easy. I don't really got money to see a psychologist and I'm really comfortable telling a stranger my feelings. I'm sure there are people who are the same way as me and find it just as difficult, but anyways, thanks for the upvotes once again and the nice words. The modern expectation that you should be willing to share your emotions. But the internal feeling of not wanting to burden other people with shit you just want to figure out on your own. Personally, I like solving problems. And that includes whatever personal shit I'm going through. If I want to talk about it, I will. Prying is just an easy to irritate me to no end, lol. It also seems like people don't actually care if men share their emotions. I think if most men were honest, people straight up wouldn't care and would immediately think less of them. I wonder what would happen if I just spilled my guts to every person who asked how are you? What if I just stopped with the superficial I'm doing alright and went with I haven't killed myself yet? Still fighting depression after 10 years. Either they start victim shaming me or I start getting people to listen. The only reason people say men should be more expressive with their emotions is because it sounds good on paper. But in practice it's irritating and most people don't know what to say or do because of how emotionally repressive society is. They've mistaken stoicism for being a cinder block. Some toilets are designed with men in mind. So occasionally you will go to take a dump. And your balls will touch the water. Or when your dong is perfectly positioned to shoot piss out through the crack between the seat and the bowl. And you end up covering your legs and pants in pee. Sometimes I just want to be nice to people. If I'm nice to a female, I must have some ulterior motive. If I'm nice to a dude, I get weird looks. Duck. Is being compassionate to other people because I want to bring some small spark of joy into their life really that bad? That and the inverse. Any woman can have male and female friends and it not be a problem. But if a guy has a female friend that's not a spouse, there is clearly cheating occurring. I'm 23. Completely bald. Wear glasses. Short in height. But have an average body. As soon as I walk into a club or bar, I always feel as though I get looks because I look older and I feel as though I have the creep vibe. It's horrible. Sorry for any bad grammar. I've had 3 hours sleep. You get judged reported if you approach children alone. Nearly got attacked by a group of mums when a kid said hi to me. I'm a local Beaver Scout leader, age 6-8. The amount of pedophile jokes I get about sleepovers tells you everything you need to know as to why men don't volunteer to work with younger children. We can't sell our bathwater and make millions. The same way you can't show cleavage on Twitch stream and get views. Lack of emotional support and sweaty balls in summer. I guess there's not a lot of room to crush your enemies. See them driven before you. And to hear the lamentation of their women anymore. Life is more boring. Divorce means I don't stand a chance of getting primary custody of my kids. It's almost always the mother. Basically she has to be a meth head with a serious criminal record, and even then it's not a sure thing. I love my little girl so much. Having the higher suicide rate. I've read that women will try a cleaner route. As in, the route you're more likely to survive. But literally guys apparently go in guns blazing. Working as an inner city paramedic, I've dealt with a lot of attempted and successful suicide. Women tend to take pills, cut themselves and go to sleep planning not to wake up. Men tend to be more destructive with jumping from bridges, train platforms. This colloquial evidence disregards attempts that were not viable. These are predominantly minor overdose or superficial self-harm with limited intent. Much likelier to be perceived as a threat. I'm severely limited in the interests I can talk about to other guys without being mocked or made fun of. Change your friend groups. I've been lucky to have always found the right group of friends from a young age who have the right balance of shit to talk about as well as sense of humor, but if I didn't take chances expanding my friend groups and relationships with acquaintances, it never would have happened. Also, having diverse friends and friend groups is nice for talking about different things with different groups. Late to the party, but I haven't seen this yet. I'm not allowed to get angry. Anytime I show the least bit of emotion. Anytime I stand up for myself. People call me violent and shy away. I've never hit anyone in my life. Raising my voice makes me violent. So instead you just take all the heaps of bullshit piled on you, because when you try and stand up for yourself it only gets worse. Simply put, society cares less about you. Everyone will look at the top and see mostly men. So they'll assume men are privileged. Or society cares more about men. Most people making those claims will fail to see the millions of invisible men toiling away in jobs no one wants, but are necessary for society to function. Or the hundreds of thousands of homeless men that line the streets. Men are 94% plus of workplace fatalities. And 75% plus of homeless people. There is one. Yes, one. Abuse shelter for men in the United States. Things like this are never talked about. Or if they are immediately shot down. Reddit.com /unpopular opinion comments BG2PSP women are the ones who are valued far more by Elias84U /context equals 3 all you really need to know. I clicked the first 2 links. And it only hit me when the third one did work. You're expected to accomplish many things. It's not easy to accomplish things. Honestly. Guys literally get sized up for everything. Their height, bank account, status and everything else. It's a constant comparison game as a dude. If you don't measure up, you're literally seen as less for whatever reason. Online dating is a sausage fest. Being expendable in the eyes of the government. Accidentally sitting on your nuts. It's also one of the funniest things because this H3H3 video still makes me laugh. You get blamed for everything. If your wife cheats on you and you have kids, even though you have been a good husband and a provider, you will be FK'd in court, from what I could gather on subreddit Surviving Infidelity. This has made me marriage averse. Former friend of mine had a partner who cheated on him. They broke up. A long and messy court process. He was amazing with the baby and she was horrible. She would never change his diapers. To the point where when he picked up the baby he had to go straight to the ER with the kid's rashes and infections. All she ever did was post drama on Facebook and use the kid as sympathy from her social media base. Essentially turning everyone against my friend. Basically using the kid as a political prop to get people on her side. He had overwhelming amounts of proof that he showed the court to prove that she was mentally unfit to be a mother. But the court still forced joint custody throughout the whole process. Turns out the judge thought they were married. They just happened to have the same last name and were dating. From totally different parts of the country, and they thoroughly checked and were 100% not related. And thought it was hilarious they had the same last name, so they started dating. Judge heard my friend say girlfriend and immediately ended the case and gave him full custody. Saying wow, you should have said that earlier. That was because the court system thought they were married. They were about to give full custody to the mom until they found out all that information. Even if they had been married, She was horrible and the child was clearly not meant to be in her custody, but the courts weren't about to let my friend have full custody. It's socially unacceptable to wear a skirt, even though it makes more sense. Women don't have things hanging down, so pant legs don't complicate matters. Kilt. When you're ugly and short, you're dead. Not if you're rich. People don't really care about you, just very lonely in general. Make sure to like and subscribe so we can watch together.